Hello and welcome back to another Football Commentaries live stream. The European semi-finals continue to take place this week as for this Thursday night we have Aston Villa hosting Olympiacos at Villa Park in the first leg of this Europa Conference League semi-final. This is Aston Villa's first European semi-final in 42 years, and their last one they were en route to their European Cup win in 1982. And Villa have been strong throughout this competition this season with just 2 defeats in their 12 games altogether against Legia Warsaw in the group stage and a loss to Lille in the quarter-final second leg, which they went on to win on penalties. If Villa go all the way in this competition, it would be a third European title in their history. For their opponents, Olympiacos, this is their first ever European semi-final. The best they have ever done in Europe previously was a quarter-final exit to Atletico Madrid in 1993 in the UEFA Cup Winners' Cup. But for the present, the Greek side are 4th in their league, but just 5 points off first place. But this could be the last real chance of silverware as they were knocked out of the Greek Cup in the last 16. These two clubs have never met before, but it could be the biggest occasion of them all for the first ever meeting. So, for this first leg, can one of these two teams take an advantage when they meet again next week in the southwest of Athens? It is a big night for Aston Villa, one of their biggest nights for a very, very long time. Like I say, 2 European titles they've already won. They won the European Cup in 1982 and then won the Super Cup as well in the same year, the season after, against Barcelona. So it is another historic night for Aston Villa. In Europe, they've had to wait a while for days like this to return. But under Unai Emery, who is just a master in European competitions, has got them through to this semi-final. We do know that the Conference League is slightly easier, of course. It's meant to be. It's meant to be easier than the Europa League. But when you do compare squads from other leagues compared to the ones in the Premier League, there is quite the difference. So, really, Aston Villa, looking on paper at the other teams that are in this competition still, they will be heavy favourites to win it. If they do go through, they'll take on either Fiorentina or Club Brugge. Fiorentina got to the final last year and gave West Ham a really good run for their money, but West Ham won it late. And then Club Brugge, the Belgian side, Aston Villa have a much stronger side than them. So altogether, Aston Villa will be favourites and they will be expected from a neutral point of view to win this competition, but it's not as easy as that. Expectation can be a lot for some players and it can be hard to deal with, and we know that this year hasn't been the greatest of years for Aston Villa in terms of their form from the back end of the year into the new year. They've just wobbled ever so slightly. They've only won 10 of their 22 games in 2024 in all competitions. They have lost 6 games already in this new year, 4 of them here at home against Manchester United and Chelsea in February, and then Newcastle in the January, and most recently Spurs in March. But their whole season, if you look at it as an overview, looking from the beginning towards the end, it's been a tremendous season. They've just obviously let up a little bit at times with a little bit of off form, but nothing that has been too disastrous. They still cling on to that 4th position in the Premier League. Wow, that is loud. Sorry about that, just a little bit of noise. But for Olympiacos, like I said, I was shocked about this. I mean, a little bit of ignorance, but I didn't quite know Olympiacos in their history that well. But this is their first ever European semi-final in any competition in their entire history. They were founded just less than 100 years ago, 99 years ago, to be exact. And yeah, this is their first ever European semi-final, so it is literally probably the biggest night in Olympiacos' history altogether. I mean, take away their league titles, they've won 47 Greek league titles. Olympiacos, their last coming 2 seasons ago, and they've won 10 Greek titles since the 2010-2011 season. But in Europe, it's just not quite happened for them until now. They've got a European manager who's won the Europa League last season, Jose Luis Medlibar, who was in charge of Sevilla at the back end of last season. He led them to that Europa League. He's in charge now. He came to Olympiacos in the middle of February. He's now took charge of 17 games, won 12 of them, 6 of them in the Conference League, winning 4 of them. And it's, a really impressive manager to get on board. And watching news of Chelsea, that's very much appreciated. We will be keeping track of the other scores around the grounds, because obviously we've got to look at the Europa League semi-finals. We'll keep a check on the game in the Premier League between Chelsea and Tottenham. But our main focus here at Villa Park as there's already been a goal. I didn't know it kicked off early. Was it half-7 kickoff? Okay, that makes sense. So Chelsea are 1-0 up. I did predict yesterday, I think it was. I did predict a Chelsea win. I predicted 2-1. So let's see if that materialises and comes together. The two sets of players are out on the pitch now at Villa Park. As we'll start with the home team lineup. They make 4 changes from their last lineup in the Conference League in that second leg quarter-final against Lille. And it is Robin Olsen in goal, as Emi Martinez picked up a suspension during that quarter-final second leg. It's a back 4 that has had 1 change in it. It's at Mati Cash to remain at right back. Luca Digne remains at left back, but there's 1 change at centre-half. Esri Konsa remains, but Clement Longley comes in for Pau Torres. 4 along the midfield. On the right-hand side is Leon Bailey. On the left is their January signing, Morgan Rogers. And the 2 central midfielders of John McGinn, the captain, and Douglas Luiz, who makes his 200th Aston Villa appearance. And then 2 up front, Moussa Diaby, who has got 2 goals in this competition, 1 in the knockout stages against Ajax in the last 16 second leg. And alongside him is Ollie Watkins. 10 more goals this season than he got in the whole of last season. He's on 26 at the moment, and he's looking for his 70th Aston Villa goal. And for Olympiacos, it is Zalakis in goal. They have made just 2 changes from their last lineup in this competition in their quarter-final second leg against Fenerbahce. A back 4 of Rodinei, the Brazilian, signed from Flamengo in the January of 2023. Left back is Cisco Ortega, and 2 centre-halves of Panayotis Retsos and David Carmo, who is on loan from Porto. 3 in the midfield of Vicente Iborra, who spent a bit of time of his career in England with Leicester, making 37 appearances for the Foxes. And his other 2 central midfielders in front of him is going to be Chiquinho and Santiago Heze, who has played every minute so far in the Conference League knockout stages. And then the front 3 on the right is Kostas Fortounis, the captain, who's been at the club now for coming up to 10 years. On the left, on loan from Wolves, is Daniel Pedence, who's spending his second spell at Olympiacos. He was at the Greek club before his move to Wolves in 2018. And through the middle is going to be Ayoub El Kaabi, Moroccan striker, brought in the summer from Al Sadd in Qatar. He brought in on a free, and he has been scoring the goals. He's actually got 1 more than Watkins. El Kaabi, 27 in all competitions. He's got 5 in the Conference League. Didn't score, though, in the quarter-final stage against Fenerbahce. But it is going to be very interesting to see how, these 2 teams come at the game, because Aston Villa will certainly fancy themselves, but Olympiacos has come through quite the European run to get to this point. They had to go through Europa League qualifying to get into the group stages. Then they were knocked out of the group stage when they had West Ham in their group and Freiburg, who went through above them. But they finished in 3rd, so that put them into the Conference League, where they had to go through the playoffs to get through to the actual last 16, where they came across Tel Aviv in the last 16, and they lost 4-1 in the home leg, the first leg, and they turned it around in the second leg and won 6-1, scoring 2 goals in extra time to go through in that one. Absolutely crazy. And then the quarter-final stage against Fenerbahce, it took them penalties to go through. So it's been quite the roller coaster for Olympiacos, and their next adventure takes them here to Birmingham against Aston Villa at Villa Park. It'll be Olympiacos to kick us off, kicking right to left. Aston Villa left to right here. Aston Villa in their usual home kit, and Olympiacos in a bit of a darker grey with orange strips coming out. I'm not saying it's a kit clash, but the kits are rather similar, which isn't great. But it is Olympiacos who's on the ball, midway inside their own half, with the left centre half of David Carmo. It's now with the number 32 of Heze, the Argentine central midfielder. As it is Olympiacos to start with the ball. They did have kick-off, so they've been able to keep it from the very start. And it is with their right centre half of Panayotis Retsos, Greek centre half, brought in permanently in the summer from Hellas Verona after spending last season on loan here at Olympiacos. As it's now in the midfield with Ebora. Sends it out to the left to Pedence. Midway inside the Villa half, he's got Bailey tracking him down, but Pedence will drive inside and put an early cross into the box, and it's a catch for Olsen to warm his gloves up. He was aiming for El Kabi there, Daniel Pedence, but just curled that cross a bit too close to the goalkeeper, as it's now with the Swiss goalkeeper for Villa, playing it out to the edge of the box to Douglas Luiz, who finds Clement Longley, who's in to the starting 11 for Aston Villa tonight. Didn't play any minutes in the quarterfinals for Villa. Clement Longley, on loan from Barcelona for the season. Spent the last 2 seasons now on loan in England. Spent last season out at Spurs under Antonio Conte. As it's Villa have their first bit of possession of the game. McGinn breaking the lines and finding Rodgers. Then through for Bailey, just about cut out there by the left back of Ortega. And his crossfield ball does find Fortunis, the captain, bringing it down the right-hand side in the final third. Not got many options around him. Pulls it back, though, to Ebora. It's now with Chiquinho. Pedence on the edge of the box. Outside of the boot, cross goes in, and Ebora wins the header. And it's tipped over the crossbar by Olsen. The flag goes up, though, on the Spaniard. So it wouldn't have counted, but 2 minutes in, and it's definitely Olympiacos who have started the brighter of the two. Pedence just on the edge of the box, just giving time to put the ball in. And if that ball had gone in the back of the net, that goal would have stood. Should have been a corner. Vicente Ebora and Ayoub El Kabi were both on side. Just got the top of his head on the ball, and it forced a good save out of Robin Olsen as Luiz gives it away in the box to Pedence. Lays it off to Chiquinho, who takes it away from the 18-yard box after being closed down by McGinn. But it's with Ortega, the left back. It's a nervy start from Villa. Heze down the line towards Chiquinho, but he can't quite reach it. Rolls out for a goal kick. Not the best of starts there by Douglas Luiz, passing it straight across goal and straight to Daniel Pedence. Couldn't quite make the most of that opportunity there, Olympiacos, but as I've just said before, they've definitely started the better. Read my fact, 2 former Wolves players, of course. Daniel Pedence is one of them, scored previously against Wolves in the last time he played against Aston Villa, the former Wolves man, in a 1-1 draw here last season. As John McGinn bringing it out of midfield, keeping it away from El Kabi. He's got Digne out on the halfway line, and he finds the Frenchman, who just slows down the play here, as it's Aston Villa to set up and try and find their usual pattern of play. As it's now with Consa being closed down here by Chiquinho. It's now with Luiz on halfway, being closed down by Ebora, tripped by the Spaniard, and it'll be a free kick for Villa. Winning the free kick this time, Douglas Luiz. As the very experienced midfielder Vicente Ebora believed he'd got the ball there. A slight nick, but I think he just tripped Luiz before he poked the ball away. He's 36 now, Ebora. Brought in on a free from Villarreal in the summer. Just his 9th start of the season altogether for Ebora. As it's Villa on the ball again with Clement Longley. It's Luiz, still inside the Villa half at the moment. But he's got time on the ball. Villa's number 6. 200 appearances now for Aston Villa for Douglas Luiz. It's Ezri Konsa on the ball for Aston Villa. This is Villa's first European campaign since the 2010-2011 season, when it ended very abruptly. Knocked out in the qualifying phase of the Europa League, 4-3 against Rapid Vienna. As it's with Robin Olsen on the edge of the Villa box, just taking their time with the possession at the moment. thinking about going long. Olsen, he'll just lift it out to the right-hand side towards Cash, who helps it forward. It's a high ball up in the air. It's headed away by Carmo, but chested down by Cash. It's now with Moussa Diaby, who goes into a more central area for a pass to Louise, who's just in front of the centre circle, finding the ball forward to Rogers. On his right foot, from the edge of the box, he strikes it. And it's a really strong save with the left arm of Zolakis, the young 21-year-old goalkeeper. Just too easy. Villa's first adventure into the deep area of the Olympiacos half, and he's just arrowed it towards that far right corner, and it's a really good save from the goalkeeper, stretching very far to just tip that beyond the post to concede the corner. Almost an early goal for Villa. As McGinn crosses, it's an in-swinger to the far post where it's come off Longley last. And that'll be, I think, a goal kick, or he might give a free kick there for a little shove, I think, by Longley on Iborra. I was actually pulling the shirt there. In fact, Morgan Rogers pulling the shirt of Iborra. But what has been a fantastic opening 5 minutes for Olympiacos, they were almost just undone a bit too easily. Morgan Rogers with that shot from the edge of the box towards that far right corner. But it's well saved by Zolakis, the 6'4" Greek goalkeeper. And my FM's 23 save. Okay, Messi retracted. As we enter the play. And it's a long clearance away by Retsos. But it's sliced out and it's a throw-in just in front of the halfway line for Aston Villa. On the far side. Just in front of Aston Villa's technical box, where Unai Emery is barking out instructions as usual. This is his 173rd game in Europe for Unai Emery. He's won 94 and lost 31. That includes Champions League, Europa League, the Conference League, the UEFA Cup. It just includes the lot. He's just such a well-travelled manager in Europe, because it's not like he's just stayed at one club. He's been at the likes of Spartak Moscow, Sevilla, where he was very successful, PSG, Arsenal, Villarreal. Such an absolute worldie of an appointment from Aston Villa to bring Unai Emery in back in October 2022. As Villa on the ball, halfway line, Cash on this near side, playing it forward to Bailey, who goes back to Cash. Doesn't risk it, finds Ezri Konsa at right centre-back, who brings in Douglas Luiz, then back out wide here to Cash, wanting to play the pass forward, but not really a lot going on for him in terms of a clear pass, so just goes back to Ezri Konsa, who signed a contract extension at the start of this season for Aston Villa, extending his stay at the club till at least 2028. As in the centre circle, it's Douglas Luiz, being closed down by Iborra, so kills it out to the right-hand side here to Cash. Forward to Leon Bailey, midway inside the Olympiacos half. He's going to run at Ortega, plays the ball inside to his left to McGinn, keeps it moving to Douglas Luiz, who finds a gap through to Digne, who's forward from full back. Low cross goes in. It's kicked by Rogers off Retsos, and it'll be a corner on the far side for Aston Villa. Positive start from the youngster, brought in from Middlesbrough in January. Morgan Rogers, who was only signed in the summer by Middlesbrough, but was snapped up quickly for a £8 million fee, which could rise to 16. As it's another corner here for Aston Villa. It's going to be an in-swinger from Douglas Luiz. He goes short to Diaby, who in the corner of the box, plays it back through for Luiz, lifts it to the far post, Konsa puts it across, deflects over to Leon Bailey, who heads it into an empty goal. And there's a flag up from the assistant referee. Or is there a whistle from the... I'm not too sure what's happened here. We do have an Italian referee tonight of Marco Guida. Luiz put it short to Diaby, who returned it to Luiz, who was onside. He put the cross in. Everyone was onside. Konsa pulled it back. It deflected off the head of... I think it was Iborra and to Bailey. I think there was a pull from Longley on Iborra, which put Iborra to the floor, which then led to him having to deflect the ball off his head to the far post, where Bailey had a tap him with his head from about a yard out. VAR's checking it, but I think there was a foul given, yet no goal. Just a pull there in the box on Iborra from Longley, which put the experienced midfielder to the floor, and the referee seen that as enough to give a foul. I'm not sure Unai Emery agrees. And Aston Villa now have it with their goalkeeper Robin Olsen. Rolls it out to the left back of Digne. Being closed down by Fortounis. And he's won the ball back fairly there, the Olympiacos captain, but then he's lost out to Morgan Rogers, who came back to help his teammate. It's now on the edge of the 18-yard box for Villa with Konsa. To the right back of Cash, time on the ball. He brings it forward, sprints forward with it, and finds a pass to Bailey. His touch goes back towards his own goal here, where he's been closed down by Ortega, but he can turn forward. That's brilliant from Bailey. Going into Cash, and then he returns it towards Bailey, but there's a slide tackle in there from the Olympiacos man. But there's a free kick for Aston Villa instead, just beforehand. I think as Cash was playing the ball back through for Bailey to complete the 1-2, it was just brought to the ground there by Chiquinho. And that's where the referee is given the foul. So it remains 0-0 here. Olympiacos had a very good opening 5 minutes to the game. It seemed a bit of a nervy beginning for Villa, but they've grown into it. They've forced a brilliant save from the goalkeeper of Zolakis early on as McGinn loses out too cheaply in the midfield. And it's now with Heze, who just overruns his heavy touches there, and it's played back to the Villa goalkeeper, who just sends it out of play. So a throw-in on the far side here for Olympiacos in the Villa half. It will be taken by Rodjane. Scored against West Ham early on in the season, the right back, Rodjane, when they had West Ham in their Europa League group stage. And he now has the ball in the final third. Tries to play it through to Fortounis, but it comes off Digne. So another throw-in for Olympiacos in the final third on that far side. As Rodjane crosses deep, and that is towards nobody in an Olympiacos shirt. So that'll roll for a goal kick. There's one player from my country. Guess the player. Oh, I don't know what your country is. I'm going to say tell me the country, but then that's a bit of a cheat because I've got everyone's nation written down. I know where everyone's from on the pitch, so it'd help me out if you let me know where you're from. As Cash goes long up towards Watkins, who flicks it on for Diaby in the 18-yard box. He just has to leave the 18-yard box as he's got Ortega next to him, but he brings in Bailey into play. In the corner of the box on the right-hand side, he puts the cross in himself. Headed away by Carmo for Olympiacos. And it's now with the Greek side up front with El Kabi, who just about keeps it away from Konsa. It's now with Pedence on the left wing, bringing the ball inside. Going forward here to Chiquinho, who's pass deflects off Konsa to Digne. And Villa can restart with their goalkeeper of Robin Olsen, who goes to the left centre half here of Longley. Brings it out of the 18-yard box. Allowed to advance forward and switches it out towards the right-hand side to Moussa Diaby, who goes beyond the halfway line with the ball. He's got Bailey in front of him. And he'll find the Jamaican. Bailey in the final third. Wants it on his left foot. He gets on his left foot. He pulls it across for Moussa Diaby. On once more to Digne, who's got a tight angle. So he'll pull it back towards Rogers. It deflects, and Rogers will have the ball poked out of play by Rodjane. So it'll be a throw-in for Villa. Got so many dangerous attackers, Aston Villa. You feel like it's only a matter of time before the first goal goes in. Louise goes back here to Konsa, then to his left to Longley, still camped inside the Olympiacos half here. Aston Villa, that's Douglas Luiz, from afar, he's going to give it a go, and it's been spilt by the goalkeeper, and it'll be cleared away there by Retsos for Olympiacos up to the halfway line, where Longley can just keep it away from El Kabi. It'll be an Olympiacos throwing on halfway. Hit it from around 30 yards out there, Douglas Luiz. It wasn't a great strike, but bit of nerves from the goalkeeper, Konstantinos Zolakis, and it was almost an opportunity there for Watkins. It's Matty Cash, okay. Polish then. Matty Cash made 4 appearances for Poland in the World Cup. Matty Cash made his debut for Poland in November 2021. He had to try to gather it there, the goalkeeper Zolakis, but bounced off his chin, it looked like, and almost a free chance for Watkins there. Well, 15 minutes in, still goalless here. And in the game at Stamford Bridge between Chelsea and Tottenham, it's Chelsea 1, Tottenham 0. In the other Conference League semi-final, it's Fiorentina 1, Club Brugge 0. And in the Europa League semi-finals, it is Marseille 0, Atalanta 1, and Roma 0, Leverkusen 0. That'd be a good semi-final, that, wouldn't it? Roma-Leverkusen. As we're back in play here, foul given on the far side by the referee. Luiz just pulling the shirt of the Olympiacos player. I think Luiz is arguing his case that it was a bit of both. He was also getting his shirt pulled, but the referee did not see it that way. So it's Olympiacos on the ball, halfway line, with Retsos, the centre-back. Plays it into Heze. Out to the right here to Fortounis. Touches and great. Just gets away from him. Rogers tackles, but he loses touch. Finds Chiquinho. It's now Alcabi, who's onside. And in the box, and he finishes. Flag goes up, but I think he could be onside here, the Moroccan. Digne was certainly just sitting a little bit deeper there in the Aston Villa back line. Heze with the first pass forward to Fortounis, whose touch was just a bit loose. Rogers came in, but he could only kick it to Chiquinho. And yeah, El Kaabi is well offside in the end. Dodgy eyesight from me. Good finish though as he entered the box. Olsen committed to dive to his left and El Kaabi just went to the near post instead. So we've had 2 goals already in this game. 1 each, and both have been disallowed. Aston Villa's was disallowed for a foul in the build-up, and that one's been disallowed for an offside. Nice little ball through there by the Portuguese central midfielder of Chiquinho. He's been brought in from Benfica in January. But the Moroccan, Ayoub El Kaabi, could not quite keep himself onside. Taking a long time to check this. I'm not sure why. Did I see a different replay? It looked well offside to me. Oh, goal's been given. What? No offside. Who's playing him on? Have I missed something? Olympiacos lead. That's the main thing we need to know. And El Kaabi, again with the goal. He's now got 6 in this competition. Didn't score any in the quarter-final against Fenerbahce in both legs. But he's back on the score sheet in the semi-final. Who played him on? Oh, it's Matty Cash. The trailing left foot played El Kaabi on. And as he entered the box, he gave Olsen the eyes. It did look like he was going to bury it to the far corner, but instead he whipped it towards the near post. Into that top right corner. The Olympiacos fans go absolutely wild in that away end. And it's the Greek side who lead away from home. It's Aston Villa 0, Olympiacos 1. And I need to get my eyes tested. I did not see Matty Cash's leg just trailing out like that. Just had his body with the Villa defence, but his just left leg was just placed out to keep the Moroccan striker on side, and it's Olympiacos who lead. I can't say it's not undeserved. They've been in the game the opening 18 minutes, the Greek side, and they've scored with their first real chance of the game. I thought it was Digne who may have been playing him onside, but in fact Digne was the highest defender forward for Aston Villa there. It was Matty Cash just leaving that left foot out to play him onside, and it's Villa who trail in this semi-final first leg. Like I say, Olympiacos entered this competition in the playoff stage after being knocked out of the Europa League group stage in 3rd place. So he has already scored 6 in this competition, El Kaabi. And that's now 28 for him in all competitions. He's a man on fire. Olympiacos is number 9. It's with that Villa in their right-back position here with Cash. In their defensive third, he's got Podence in front of him. He goes to Robin Olsen here as Club Brugge equalise against Fiorentina in the other semi-final. He clips out to Digne, heads it forward towards Rogers, but cut out there by Retsos. And then Rodjane kicks it off Digne, and it's a throw-in for Olympiacos on the far side, just inside the Villa half. And here is the Brazilian right-back, Rodjane. 32 years of age, throws it to El Kaabi, returns it to Rodjane, lifts it down the line for Fortounis, tries the 1-2 there with El Kaabi, and eventually touched out of play there by Aston Villa's Douglas Luiz, so it'll be another Olympiacos throw in here. As it is half-time at Stamford Bridge now. 1-0 to Chelsea. That's Podence. Down the left-hand side here to Ortega. Tries the cut back, blocked off by Bailey, who's doing his defensive work well there. Tracking the full-back all the way, who's getting forward himself. And blocks it behind for an Olympiacos corner. On this near side. As if Olympiacos can go 2 up, then they're seriously in dreamland. It'll be Chiquinho to take it. Right-footed as they flood the 6-yard box, and that's where he puts it into. It's flapped up by Olsen, but he touches it away to the far side where it'll be kept alive for Olympiacos by Podence, who's 1-on-1 with Digne. Tries to go through his legs there, but Digne deals with it, and he can clear it now for Villa. Down the left-hand side where it'll be Rodney to collect it on halfway for Olympiacos. He's got time on the ball. He goes across to the number 3 here of Francisco Ortega. It's now out to the left-hand side to Fortounis. Wants to switch to the right-hand side. It's an audacious pass and it'll roll out for a goal kick. Try to look for Daniel Podence there. Kostas Fortounis, who suffered 2 ACL injuries quite recently. The Olympiacos captain on the right wing. Picked one up in July 2019 and then picked one up again in June 2021. This is his second spell at Olympiacos. Came through when he was a little bit younger from 2003 to 2008, then returned in July 2014 from Kaiserslautern in Germany. And here is Rodney attacking down the Olympiacos right. Gets away from Luiz. In the final third here, Rodney. He's got no one in the box to aim for. If he wants to cross it, he turns back instead. Surrounded by Villa shirts, but it can deflect to Podence, who's tackled by Luiz. But it's picked up by Rodney. It's Olympiacos back in possession here. In the centre circle with their number 16, David Carmo. Angolan international now. After representing Portugal at youth level. That's where he was born. But he decided to represent Angola. As Olympiacos go long towards the edge of the box looking for Chiquinho, who would have been offside, but he couldn't control anyway. Went through to the Villa goalkeeper of Robin Olsen. And it's now with the right back of Matty Cash, who only in the 2015-2016 season, Matty Cash was on loan in League 2 from Nottingham Forest, and now he's, like I say, playing at World Cups, taking on Mbappe and Messi in European semi-finals. It's Longley into the centre circle to McGinn, facing his own goal here, laying it back off to Longley. He wants the ball over the top here. Diaby's making a run. Carmo will head it out wide left to his left back, Ortega, who then hooks it away on the edge of the box, but only far as Cash, who's heavy, but it will drop towards him on the edge of the box, but taken off him there by Heze. And Olympiacos can break out to the right wing here. Can they make something happen? It's Daniel Podence, tackled by Digne. And it's a throw-in for the Greek side. Good defending by the Frenchman. I've been very impressed here with this start from Olympiacos. You know, obviously the goal helps with their first half performance, but they've not let, you know, the atmosphere of a pumped up Aston Villa kind of overwhelm them in any way. They've kind of just played their own game and they lead at the moment 1-0. As Rodney showing a little bit of nerves maybe, slipping over the ball and out of touch it goes for an Aston Villa throw in this time. With the number 12, Luca Digne, who's played 23 times in the Champions League before for Roma, Barcelona, Lille, and PSG. There's Digne on halfway into Rodgers. It's now Watkins, not had many touches of the ball, but he can try and work it back through to Digne on the left. Couldn't control. Throwing midway inside the Olympiacos half for the away side. As for Villa, they've not been doing great at home in recent times. Just 3 wins from their last 8 at home in the league for Villa. Against Bournemouth, Wolves and Forest. You know, teams you'd expect them to beat, in all honesty. But they have only lost 1 of their last 6, though, at home against Spurs. So it does seem like they're just drawing a few too many at the moment. 2 of their last 3 at home have been draws. As it's Villa on the ball. Olsen towards McGinn, who controls it well on the edge of the box, and then forward here to Rodgers in a central area. Skips away from one Olympiacos player, and then plays it out to the right here to Diaby. He's got Bailey in front of him. Diaby still has it. Plays it to Watkins in the box, and it goes all the way through for a goal kick. Couldn't quite get there first, Ollie Watkins. But you've got to think that Aston Villa are going to score today. It's just a matter of how many, especially when you've got the likes of Watkins, Diaby, Rodgers and Bailey as your front four. So it'll be a goal kick for the number 88 of Zalakis. Contract expires at Olympiacos in the summer for their goalkeeper, the 21-year-old. It's flipped backwards there by Louise, but headed away by Cash into the centre circle where it's helped on by Rodgers, controlled by Watkins, who's tackled fairly there by Retsos. And it's now back with the away side here in their own half with the right centre half of Panayotis Retsos. Born in South Africa but does represent Greece as his nationality. As the goalkeeper sends it long for Olympiacos. In behind, looking for El Kaabi. It's headed forward and away by Longley. Almost just nipped behind him there, the ball. But they've dealt with it well. And it's Rodgers, who cannot get away from Ibora. And it's now Chiquinho. And it's now Olympiacos in possession on the halfway line. Goes back to their back line to Retsos. Across to the other centre-back of Carmo, who goes long, quite direct, and in behind the defence for Pedence, but it's Olsen to come out and collect it. Good goalkeeping there by the 34-year-old, former Roma goalkeeper. And just like the ball, the Aston Villa goalkeeper's in an all-green strip tonight. As Robin Olsen plays it to the right centre half here of Esri Konsa. It's now back to Olsen. Feel like that goal has just taken the sting out of Villa's performance so far as Olsen goes long up towards Leon Bailey. Does head it on, but Watkins isn't there to chase. And he'll go through to the opposite goalkeeper of Konstantinos Zalakis, who made his Greece under-21 debut at the age of 17 and 11 months. He's obviously a goalkeeper with a little bit of promise, as he's played every minute of the Conference League fixtures in the last three. He came in when Olympiacos conceded 4 at home to Tel Aviv in the last 16. Like I say, somehow they were able to turn it around, Olympiacos, and win 6-1 away from home. So that should show Aston Villa that Olympiacos do have a goal-scoring threat away. I know Tel Aviv aren't quite as good as Aston Villa, but you know, this Olympiacos side can certainly score goals. That's not a question. As on the halfway line, Watkins tries to flick it to his left to Rodgers, cut out for Olympiacos, and it's now an attack being built with Daniel Pedence in a central area, over the top, in behind. El Kaabi touches it around the goalkeeper and puts it underneath him and slots it into the back of the net. And that goal-scoring threat is there again. El Kaabi, the Moroccan, gets his second of the night. It's now 29 in all competitions for the season. Brought in on a free in the summer. What an absolute bargain. And it's a disastrous start for Aston Villa and Unai Emery. I'm not going to call if it's offside or not, because last time I got it completely wrong. But whatever the outcome is, El Kaabi has done his job of scoring for Olympiacos. Given away so cheaply by Aston Villa. Longley went forward to Watkins. His flick-on was cut out on the halfway line by Retsos. And eventually it was worked to Pedence, who just drifted inside from the left wing, and he could not be more onside. Digne tried to push up to catch him off. Did it too late. El Kaabi got onto the pass. Just headed it out to the left side, which meant Olsen, the goalkeeper, had to scramble across. And El Kaabi got there ahead of him and just kicked the ball with his left boot just underneath the goalkeeper, who almost got there. It trickled its way in. Konsa couldn't clear it off the line. And already, just under half an hour in, it's Aston Villa 0, Olympiacos 2. What a nightmare for Aston Villa in their first European semi-final since 1982. And it's been their offside trap that has let them down. Digne keeping El Kaabi on that time. The first time was Cash playing him on. And when you've got a man like El Kaabi up front, like Olympiacos have, who is just in the goals at the moment, he's going to find the back of the net. That's now 7 for him in the Conference League in just 7 appearances. And like I say, brought in from Al Sadd from Qatar on a free in the summer. He's ripping this up. This is his first ever season in a European competition, as it does look like we're going to have to get a change here for Olympiacos. It's their left back, Francisco Ortega. Just before, he slipped off the ball, and it looked like he's done himself a bit of damage, maybe a pulled muscle. But Unai Emery's got to sort his side out here because they're struggling. 2-0 down at home. He's giving some very animated instructions there to Douglas Luiz. Unai Emery. 2 left-footed finishes by El Kaabi, the striker. And Villa Park is stunned as Leverkusen have taken a lead away from home at Roma. Florian Wirtz with the opener there. And there is the Olympiacos owner. Or should I say president. Evangelos Marinakis, also the owner of Nottingham Forest. He also owns Olympiacos. But definitely not the start that Unai Emery would have wanted. He's actually never come up against Olympiacos in his career as a manager, Unai Emery, which surprised me. You know, with the amount of European games Unai Emery's managed, you just thought he would have stumbled across them at some point. As we're back underway here. And it does look like with a bit of treatment, the Olympiacos left back can continue. Do apologise for that noise. No, he's not on the pitch at the moment, the left back. I don't know if that's his game done or he'll be coming on soon. Sorry about the noise. It's annoying for me. Sorry about that noise. We are back here, and it's Aston Villa who've won a corner, attacking down the right-hand side. Cash playing it through for Bailey. You had to really chase the ball down to keep it in, and he's able to kick it off an Olympiacos player to win a set piece here. And John McGinn will take it on this near side, right in front of the away supporters, as Francisco Ortega, the left back, is back on the field after a little bit of medical treatment. As McGinn crosses in, it's a deep one towards the far post where Longley can't help it, back into play. And out for a goal kick it goes. 12 minutes of the first half to go. And Villa trail by 2-0. I didn't see this result coming, in all fairness. I put a little bit too much disrespect on Olympiacos. You know, when you look at their squad on paper, it's not as strong as Aston Villa's. You know, player for player, but when you've got a striker on fire, that can help you out sometimes. You know, it's not like Aston Villa don't have a striker on fire. You know, they've got Ollie Watkins, who's got 3 in his last 4. A brace against Brentford and that goal at the Emirates against Arsenal. As it's Retsos for Olympiacos to clear forward up into the Villa half, where it's a Pedence win for the header, but he heads it backwards off from McGinn, and McGinn kicks the ball onto his own hand there. And it's a free kick for Aston Villa. That just shows you when it just isn't quite going your way in a game. Aston Villa's captain caught out for handball there. Just controlled it and just tried to kick the ball backwards, but he's just kicked it off his own hand. And it's Olympiacos on the ball. A trip on for Tunis on the halfway line on the far side. Free kick again for the away side, given away by Douglas Luiz. But when Olympiacos were last in the Champions League, it was a group stage exit for them. They were knocked out of the Champions League 10 seasons ago exactly, in the last 16 by Manchester United. They were also knocked out of the Europa League last 16 in 2021 by Arsenal, but they also did knock Arsenal out of the Europa League the season before. So they have had battles before with English opposition, Olympiacos, not always have come out on top. As it's with Aston Villa near side, halfway line, Cash goes to the right centre half of Konsa. Back out to the right hand side here to Cash. Into the space for Bailey, who will get there ahead of Carmo. Bailey, Carmo slides in, gets none of the ball, catches the man, free kick for Aston Villa. Just a bit of a silly challenge there by David Carmo. He's going to get away with no booking, but it's definitely a late one. Leon Bailey's in pain. Good ball by Cash into the final third. Bailey got onto it and just didn't need to slide in there, Carmo. But he did. And it's a free kick for Villa on the right-hand side. Too far wide and a bit too forward for a shot. A bit too tight of an angle for that, but they can definitely cross this in, Aston Villa. So Douglas Luiz is stood over it. If he takes it, it'd be a bit more of an outswinger with his right foot. I think McGinn's also over there to possibly take. So will it be the left foot or the right foot? We'll wait and see. It'll be a short ball from Luiz to McGinn, who on the angle will have the shot towards goal and deflected away for a corner. The block was there by El Kaabi. So it's a corner on this near side for Aston Villa, where I think it'll be put in directly by McGinn. An in-swinger towards the goalkeeper. That's where the majority of them have gone. There's McGinn, just puts a cross sign in the air. Obviously that, of course, indicates a certain set-piece routine as he puts into the near post this time. Cleared away by Ortega, as there was a bit of a few arms in the air by the Villa supporters, as that was a pretty disappointing cross into the box. But it will be a throw-in for Cash. Still in the final third here, Aston Villa, who could do with a goal before the break. As Aston Villa are the last English side left in European competition. It came out yesterday that England and the Premier League won't have a fifth place Champions League spot. They have gone to Germany and Italy. So it's just the top four for English sides to get into the Champions League for next season. As Luiz, forward for Rodgers, through for Bailey, edge of the box, on his left foot, can't quite shoot yet, slips on the edge of the area, then tackled by Heze. And Chiquinho works it to Heze. Now Pedence wants the 1-2, can't quite get it off, because it's McGinn to get across his man. And it's now on the halfway line with Douglas Luiz. Now out to the left centre half of Longley, into Digne, who's getting forward from fullback. Goes back into Longley. Douglas Luiz, everyone behind the ball for Olympiacos, bar their striker of El Kaabi. Leon Bailey on this near side with Cash. Back out wide to Bailey, everything to his left here for the number 31. Finds McGinn, about 40 yards from goal. Luiz, Diaby, flicks it through towards Bailey, can't quite beat Pedence to the ball. And Pedence will bring it away as Bailey's claimed he's been caught in the face, but the referee says nothing has been done there. And it's now Olympiacos to break on the right-hand side for Tunis. On the edge of the box, he's going to go for the early shot, and he's caught it well. Very powerfully hit, but over the bar. Almost for Olympiacos, as Leon Bailey stayed down, holding his face here. As the captain for Tunis just absolutely cannon that one. Just always rising, just a bit too much, but definitely hit with power. And there was a slight arm in the face there on Leon Bailey, but nothing, not enough for him to go down the way he did, holding his face so dramatically, but it's almost like every football player does that these days, so it's nothing new. But we're back underway, 5.5 minutes left of the first 45, and it's Aston Villa to play out from the back, edge of the box with Luiz, who's allowed to turn forward with the ball. It's now McGinn, out wide right here to Cash. As the referee stopped play here, he wants a word. Wait, I don't know why he stopped play. Aston Villa were starting an attack down the right-hand side. But the Italian wants a word with Pedence. There's no reason at all the referee needed to stop play there, at all. That's bemusing why he's done that. Luiz played the pass. And as he played the pass, he was getting blocked off by Pedence. And there was a little bit of a pull and a shove on each other. But absolutely no reason why the referee couldn't have spoke to Pedence after the Aston Villa attack. And now it's an Olympiacos free kick. Midway inside the Villa half, just to the right-hand side, where they've taken it quickly through Pedence to Fortounis. It's now Rodjane from right back, who crosses. Not a bad ball and just slightly overhit. And out it goes for a throw-in a right-back position for Aston Villa, as I don't think the home support are very happy with this refereeing performance so far. As it's Marseille 1, Atalanta 1 in the other Europa League semi-final, as Leverkusen still lead 1-0. Back underway for the Chelsea-Tottenham game. Chelsea still lead 1-0. Fiorentina back in the lead against Club Brugge. As we've got another free kick here for Aston Villa to have to defend. Cash just leaning in on Pedence with his elbow. And Pedence is still down at the moment. Slowly getting himself back to his feet. Of course, we've still got another 45 minutes of football to play, but it's definitely momentum with Olympiacos. Is from the free kick, they've switched it all the way out to the right-hand side to Rodjane, who will then put it in behind the Villa defence to Pedence towards the byline, who can keep it in, but Bailey kicks it off Pedence and concedes the corner. That is just really stupid from Leon Bailey. Pedence tried to keep it in. He did, but he fell over as he did, and Leon Bailey could have easily turned and started running away from goal, but instead he's just decided to blast it off Pedence, who was off the pitch. So it's gone for a corner. If they score from this, then it's just an absolute nightmare for Villa. They've gone short. Chiquinho's the one who eventually crosses it in, header away on the near post by Watkins. Needs to be helped on once more, but it's Carmo who wins it to El Kaabi, who may have been offside, but the flag stays down for now. It's now for Tunis. It's out to the far side to Rodjane. One-on-one with Konsa. Has to go back to Fortounis. It's now in the centre circle with the left back, or the centre back of Retsos. In behind, down the right-hand side towards Fortounis, just overhit and seen behind for a goal kick by Digne. And an Aston Villa ball it is. But it's not the first time that the Olympiacos manager has faced English opposition. Jose Luis Medlibar faced Manchester United last season in the Europa League, last 16, and also Manchester City in the Super Cup at the beginning of the season. As Olsen kicks it forward for Villa, but straight to Carmo, who gets the ball kicked off him, off Diaby, and straight to Luiz, who works it to the left-hand side to Rodgers, tackled by Rodjane, who can't keep it in. On that far side, thrown for Villa. Thrown to Longley, who goes into the 18-yard box here to Olsen. Forward to Luiz, now to the left centre half of Longley. Lifted ball forward into a central area for Watkins, who heads it down for Rodgers. That's brilliant. Then returns it towards Watkins, who dummies it. Kicked away by Carmo, but then given it away by Rodjane. And it's now Diaby who receives it off McGinn. Bailey with the ball in the box. Goes onto his right foot. He's been brought down. Oh, it's got to be a penalty. Oh, he waves it away. There's definitely contact for sure. And Ortega feels the contact. And so does Bailey. Oh, that's got to be a penalty for me. It looked like Bailey was going to go onto his left, but then turned down to go down the right side instead. There's definitely contact. Trips him, the leg goes out. That's a penalty for me. Trips him. Ortega, the left back, puts his leg out to trip him up. And there's a bit of a tangle of legs. And the referee doesn't give it, but for me, that's a penalty. It's just the way Ortega puts his right leg across Bailey to clearly trip him. No penalty. Wow. That is surprising. VAR is Massimiliano Irati. And that's a big call to not give a penalty. Ortega, the left back, definitely puts his right leg across Bailey to ignite that tangle of legs, which brings Bailey to the ground. And I think they got away with one there, personally. I think that should have been a penalty, but it's not been given. And Olympiacos stay 2 goals up here. The goalkeeper kicks it forward, Zalakis, up towards El-Kaabi, who controls it so well and lays it off to the edge of the box to Chiquinho, who can't quite work himself away from Concert. He lays it off for Longley, but there's an offside flag up for some reason. Not sure who's offside. It's just a bit erratic, this officiating this first half. As we've got 3 minutes added on here at Villa Park. Cash bringing it forward beyond the halfway line. He's not got much support with him, but he's got a lot of room to run into. Eventually plays it to his left to Diaby. Edge of the area, slots it through. Watkins strikes it, and it's a goal for Villa. Right on the stroke of half-time. They cut the deficit in half. It's Aston Villa 1, Olympiacos 2. And of course, it's Ollie Watkins with the goal. 27 now for the season in all competitions. It's his 5th in the Conference League. And he has scored in each of the knockout rounds so far against Ajax, Lille and now Olympiacos. They started playing out from the back with Concert. He found Cash in his own half. And he eventually ran into the Olympiacos half, found himself about midway inside the half before playing it through to Diaby, who played it into the space for Watkins on the right side of the box, who with the perfect weight of pass was able to shoot first time across goal into the bottom left corner, drilling it home. And it's Aston Villa 1, Olympiacos 2. Could that turn the tide in the game? It is right before half time, so hopefully for Villa they can maybe continue this momentum into the second half. As with 90 seconds left of added time, it's Douglas Luiz with it on the left hand side, rouletting away from one Olympiacos player, but losing it to Chiquinho, who tries to go in behind to find El-Kaabi, but cut out by Longley, who hurries it out wide right to Cash, who can slide in on Podence there and win the ball. And it's now with Bailey going over the top here for Morgan Rogers. Will he reach it before the goalkeeper? No, he won't. And it's into the gloves of Zalakis. And it's a very fiery and a very impressive end to this first half here by Aston Villa, who definitely needed that goal to lift the crowd because they were getting frustrated with the refereeing decisions and the just overall performance of the team. As the goalkeeper for Olympiacos goes long and it goes all the way through to the Villa goalkeeper here. It's now with Clement Longley. 40 seconds of added time to play. Longley goes forward to Rogers. Lays it off to his left here to Digne. Then forward to Rogers. He's got space down the left-hand side here. Can Villa equalise before half-time? Rogers in the box. On his right foot. Plays it across to Bailey. Dummies it for Diaby, who tries to pull it back once more. But it's blocked by Ortega. And it'll be a corner for Aston Villa on the near side. You felt like Moussa Diaby could have possibly had the shot. But he'll take the corner short here to McGinn. Edge of the area to Bailey. Clips it to the far post to Digne, who lays it off. Luiz shoots and he slices it wide and over. And the 3 minutes have been played. It remains 2-1. And the referee blows for half-time. It's been chaotic. It's been full of drama. And it's Olympiacos who are going in at the break ahead. It's 2-1 at the moment. Goal scoring started for Olympiacos in the 16th minute. A ball in behind for El-Kaabi, who finished it into the top right corner of the goal. There was questions of offside. He was flagged for offside, but Matty Cash with his trailing left leg played him on, and it gave Olympiacos a lead. And half an hour in, they were 2 up. El-Kaabi with another goal. Again, played onside by Digne this time, timing his run to perfection. Heading a touch out wide left to take it away from the goalkeeper and then slotting it underneath the goalkeeper to give Olympiacos a 2-goal lead. They were almost going in at the break, 2 goals up, but in the first minute of added on time, Ollie Watkins gave Aston Villa a lifeline to try and get back in this game and maybe go on and win it in the second half. It was a ball played through into the space in the right side of the box by Diaby. Watkins latched on and lashed it into the bottom left corner. Brilliant finish. It's his 27th of the campaign. And after the first half here of this first leg at Villa Park, it's Aston Villa 1, Olympiacos 2. I'm going to go for this half-time break. I'll be back for the second half as at the moment at Villa Park. It's Aston Villa 1, Olympiacos 2. Hello. We are back for the second half of this Conference League semi-final. First leg between Aston Villa and Olympiacos, and it is the Greek side who lead. They were 2-0 up in half an hour. The brace from their striker Ayoub El-Kabi. But that was just cut in half, the lead, with Ollie Watkins right on half-time in the first minute of 3 that were added on, drilling a low shot into the bottom left corner. Villa did have an early goal disallowed as well at 0-0. A pull on Ibora by Longley in the build-up to the goal meant it was disallowed. It was a low ball in, and then it deflected off the head of Ibora, who was on the floor because he was pulled to the floor by Longley, and then the header came off Ibora to the far post of Bailey, who had a header to finish from about a yard out. And they could have had a penalty before the break as well. That was at 2-0 before they scored. I thought it was a penalty, a trip by Ortega on Bailey. I'd like to know what other people thought of that, because I thought that was a stonewall penalty, in all honesty. Chelsea is 2-0. Literally saw the goal. I was watching the game just during half-time there, and it was a Jackson header, wasn't it? Cole Palmer smashing the crossbar with a free kick, and on the rebound, it was headed in by Jackson. But for me, I just don't see how that's not a penalty for Aston Villa. I mean, I know they scored a few minutes after, so it kind of almost levelled it out a little bit, but it's just got to be... It's got to be a penalty for me and a foul. As like I say, I would like to see some opinions on it. That's what I'm going to look for now. Let's have a look. But still another 45 to play here, and then another 90 in Athens next week, as the next game is in Athens. But like I say, both teams at the moment in 4th place in their own divisions. Aston Villa 4th in the Premier League, Olympiacos 4th in the Greek Super League. But Olympiacos are 5 points off the top, which shows how tight that league is. And though they've not got many games to play, Olympiacos, they've got 4 more games to play. They've got Aston Villa next week. They could have an extra one, of course, if they get to the final, but their last 3 league games are PAOK, AEK, Athens and Panathinaikos. So 3 league games to play and you're 5 off the top. It shows how close the Greek league is, with 4 teams in it to win it, as their last is for Olympiacos. This is their 52nd game in all competitions this season. Same as Villa. Villa have also played the same amount of games. But Olympiacos have just won a couple more. Olympiacos have won 31 games. Aston Villa have won 29. It's a bit late here. Can't believe it's taking so long, but we can see the Olympiacos players at the front of the tunnel. And now the Aston Villa players just following behind. Just feels like it's taking a little bit long, this. Want to get this second half back underway as soon as possible. Marseille and Atalanta are 1-1 in the Europa League. The other Europa League semi-final is Roma 0, Leverkusen 1. In the Conference League, it is currently Fiorentina 2, Club Brugge 1. So both games are 2-1 in the Conference League, but it's Aston Villa trailing in this one. As Aston Villa players are the first to go back out, followed behind by the Olympiacos starting 11. I don't think we'll see any changes at half-time from either side, but we'll have to just wait and see. Not had any changes yet in the first half. No one was forced off with injury or anything like that. Watkins with the goal Oh, second half delayed due to a medical emergency. I do apologise. I was wondering why the second half was just taking a little bit longer to get started. As I think we are going to get an Olympiacos change here. It's going to be number 27, Englishman, Omar Richards, brought in on loan this season from Nottingham Forest. Of course, the Nottingham Forest owner is also the owner of Olympiacos. That might be the reason for that loan. But he comes on here for left back because Francisco Ortega was struggling during that first half. He'd picked up a slight injury. He slipped over off the ball and it seemed to do him a little bit of discomfort. And he's not obviously been able to get back out to continue this second half. So it'll be Aston Villa kicking right to left, Olympiacos left to right towards their away support. It'll be Chelsea 3, Tottenham 0. We'll wait and see. I predicted 2-1 last night to Chelsea, so I could be on here. I did say Chelsea would win. As we're just waiting for the referee's whistle here of Marco Guida, the Italian 42-year-old who has been selected to be a referee at the European Championships in the summer. And we're underway here with Aston Villa kicking us off. They could do with a lead going into that second leg, that's for sure. They don't want to go in level after playing the first leg at home. Feel like probably a bit of a wasted opportunity. As we're with the left back Digne in the Villa defensive third, goes inside to the midfield to Luiz, and down the line for Rodgers, who lays it off for Digne. His touch isn't great, loses out in the end, and it's now Olympiacos back on the ball in the Villa half. For Tunis, the right winger, going back to Rodgers, who's on the halfway line. He's been forced to go back into his own half here to Retsos, number 45 for Olympiacos, now to the goalkeeper of Zalakis. He goes long, beyond the halfway line, up towards El Kaabi. Nodded down there for Olympiacos. And it's now with Fortunis. Heze. Down the line it goes here to Rodgers, who's going to chase this one down. And he'll get there ahead of Rodgers. And the last touch comes off the Villa number 27. And in the final third, on this near side, it's an Olympiacos throw-in hit. Good work down that right-hand side. And he gets the return from the throw-in here, Rodgers, giving time to cross it. Comes off Digne, another throw-in for Olympiacos. Just giving a bit too much time to get the cross in there. I know it didn't end up being anything in the end. But it'll be Rodgers again to take the throw. Won 4 trophies during his time at Flamengo, the team he joined from, to bring himself to Greece and Olympiacos. As he throws it short to Fortunis. And then back to Rodgers. Kept in by Fortunis. No, goes out of play. And it's a throw-in for Aston Villa. Bit of a waste there by Olympiacos in the end between Rodgers and Fortunis. As Digne takes the throw-in quickly and then Luiz goes back to Longley. It's now with Robin Olsen, the goalkeeper, who left-footed, plays it out towards the right-hand side. And it's Diaby to collect it in a lot of space here for Aston Villa. It's now with McGinn on the halfway line. Flicks it back here to Konsa. Now Luiz in the centre circle. It goes nowhere near him in the end. Picked up by El Kaabi. Then flicked out to the left-hand side towards Podence. It deflects through towards him off Cash. Podence has it in the corner of the box on the left-hand side. Waiting for support. Cross goes in and through to the goalkeeper of Olsen. Looking for El Kaabi. But he can take that one under control. The 30-year-old. Who's not scored a hat-trick yet for Olympiacos this season, despite scoring 29 goals. But he is on for one tonight. With his 2 goals in the first half. As Ezri Konsa goes to Douglas Luiz, who's just sat in between the 2 centre-backs at the moment, the Brazilian. It's now McGinn, still in the Villa half. Out to the right to Cash. Tackled by Podence, but he can just outwork it into McGinn, who shrugs off one Olympiacos player, and then plays it down the line for Diaby. On once more for Bailey in the final third, 1-on-1 with Carmo. Onto his left foot here, Bailey. Playing it through for Diaby, it's just overhit and shielded out of play for a goal kick there by Retsos. There's definitely been a positive link-up there down the right-hand side between Bailey and Diaby throughout the game. That's where the goal came from. The Villa goal, down that right-hand side. But just overhit that pass there. Bailey towards Diaby.
And there is the Olympiacos manager, Jose Luis Medlibar, 63-year-old Spaniard. Sacked by Sevilla in October of 2023. And his next job was here. Brought in on the 11th of February 2024. Just lost 3 games for Olympiacos in 17. As they've gone long there, Olympiacos, and it's straight out of play. Goal kick here for Aston Villa, with their Malmo-born goalkeeper Robin Olsen. He's got time on the ball here. Plays it to the right centre half of Consa. Chiquinho is closing him down, but he can find McGinn on the edge of the box, who turns, keeps away from Iborra. Luis forward first time to Rodgers. Touch isn't great, but he can shrug off Heze for Olympiacos, and Rodgers can now enter the Olympiacos half. Plays it to his right 5 yards to Diaby, who strides forward with the ball. Lays it off for Bailey. In the area, tight angle. On his left foot, he goes for the shot, blocked by Richards. And it loops over to McGinn, who heads it out wide to Cash. And Aston Villa continue to attack here. McGinn trying to go in behind for Cash. It's a brilliant ball. Cash gets onto it, and he crosses. Lifted ball goes in. Header won by Retsos, but he drops to McGinn, who shoots. It's blocked by Iborra. Well, as far as Louise, and Aston Villa can continue to attack. They've got the home support up for this second half. It's Ezri Konsa just in front of the halfway line. Going down the right-hand side, it's Cash. Plenty of time on the ball for the Polish international. 1-2 with Bailey. Cash has it in the final third. Can he get the cross right? Fakes the first one. And then puts it in the second time of asking. And Retsos wins the header for Olympiacos. Helped away by Pedenso as far as Konsa, who beats El Kabi to it. So now with Cash again on that far side. Driving inside this time, then through for Diaby. Can he get there? He can. The touch comes off Carmo. And Watkins can nick it away from Heze. It's now with Watkins. Back it goes to Bailey. On the right wing position. Now McGinn. Back to Konsa on halfway. They have to restart a little bit, Villa. And they've been forced all the way back to the goalkeeper of Olsen. But definitely better from Villa in this second half in the last couple of minutes. As Robin Olsen has it outside the Aston Villa 18-yard box. Goes once again to Ezri Konsa, who came to win his first England caps in the recent international break in March. Playing 70 minutes against Brazil and then the full 90 against Belgium, both at right back. It's now with Douglas Luiz inside his own half. Goes back to Konsa. Returns it to Luiz. It's now with Longley. He's got time on the ball here, the Frenchman. Runs towards the halfway line. Goes beyond it. And switches out to the right towards Bailey. It's a brilliant ball. It's even better control. And he plays it through for Diaby again towards the byline. He puts it across and it's into the back of the net. From the tightest of angles, Moussa Diaby puts it home for Aston Villa. They're level on the night. And patience and persistence for Aston Villa has certainly paid off here, as they're all square at 2-2. To score from an angle like that takes skill and confidence, and Moussa Diaby has got that all over. Great switch from Longley on halfway out to the right-hand side to Bailey. In the final third, he was one-on-one with Richards. Diaby made the run towards the byline. It looked like he was going to pull it back, but instead he squeezed it in between the space of the goalkeeper and that front post. I think it might even nick off the goalkeeper. Yeah, just a slight touch off his left leg as he tried to block what he thought was going to be a cross, which turned into a shot. Into the net it goes. Villa Park is bouncing and they're all level at 2-2. Moussa Diaby with the goal. The man brought in for £51.9 million in the summer transfer window. He's got his side level in this Conference League semi-final first leg and they want to go ahead. Cash tries to play a ball into the box towards Bailey, which cut out by Amar Richards, formerly of Bayern Munich. Now Chiquinho. Heze just about turns away from Douglas Luiz and goes out to the left here to Richards. Keeps it in play. And it's now with David Carmo on the edge of the 18-yard box, who relaxes it here for Olympiacos as they're under the cosh at the moment. Rodgine down the right-hand side. It deflects, but it'll work its way through to El Kabi, who can try and get around Longley. It's a bit of a tussle between the two. And it's well dealt with by Longley. Oh, last touch off the Frenchman, so it's a corner kick instead. Clement Longley thought he'd seen that behind there for a goal kick, as they were both pulling at each other there, trying to get onto the ball. Longley and El Kabi. Just the 2 draws in this Europa Conference League campaign for Aston Villa. Most recently drawing away 0-0 against Ajax in the last 16 first leg. As the corner's being paused here as the referee just wants a word with John McGinn. So we're eventually going to get a corner kick. It's going to be an outswinger from Fortounis. And it goes, bit deeper one. It's a free header. It comes off the hand of Douglas Luiz. And it's a penalty. His arm was out. Douglas Luiz can't believe it. But even from the first view, it did look like a handball. Just looked like his arm was in an unnatural position. It was Retsos with the header. Oh, Luiz has got his arm out. It just looks very lazy from Luiz to have his arms out like that. Like I say, ball went in towards the far post. Retsos won the header. Don't get me wrong. It's quite a close distance between the ball and Luiz's hand, but there's no reason why his arm needs to be out like that. He's not covering his face. It's not going near his face. It's like he's genuinely trying to block the ball with his arm. And the referee was right there to see it. And it looks like it's going to be an Olympiacos penalty straight after Aston Villa got back into the game with an equaliser through Moussa Diaby. The penalty's been given. You just know in the modern game you can't have your arms out like that in the penalty box. Douglas Luiz has been caught guilty of a handball, and El Kaabi, for his first Olympiacos hat-trick, he buries it into the left-hand side of the goal. It's a match ball for the Moroccan. And Olympiacos retake the lead here at Villa Park. It's raining goals in Birmingham. And it's Olympiacos who have the lead here. It's a hat-trick for El Kaabi, who scored twice in the first half to give Olympiacos a 2-goal lead. He's now given them the lead once again. This time now making it 3-2. So calm. Olsen went the wrong way, and even if he went the right way, he would have had to have really dived and stretched out for that one. Perfectly placed. And in a game that was swinging Villa's way, it's now swung back the other way. And Olympiacos again in the lead. And at Villa Park, it's Aston Villa 2, Olympiacos 3. What a game this is turning out to be. From 12 yards, in a season now where El Kaabi has scored 30 goals in all competitions. That's his first hat-trick. And what a hat-trick it could be to give Olympiacos a lead here. Going into the second leg. Obviously, we've still got a lot of football to play in this first leg. As Moussa Diaby, midway inside the Olympiacos half on the far side, goes forward to Bailey. One-on-one with Richards. Wants to go on the outside, instead drives on the inside, but tackled there by Pedence. It's Cash to win it back on the corner flag, can't quite keep it in. Throw in for Olympiacos. Now 8 goals in 7 Conference League games for El Kaabi. It's just mad to think that they bought him for free from Qatar, from El Sad. El Kaabi, where he scored 6 goals in Qatar in 13 appearances. And in fairness, his career, Ayoub El Kaabi, he's travelled around to the most out there countries in terms of football. As Aston Villa are in here, Watkins in the box, pulls it through. It's great defending from Richards, sliding in at the near post to kick it behind for a corner. Watkins has already got one. He wanted to turn into the provider there, but Richards cut it out. We'll talk about El Kaabi's countries in a minute, the places he's played in. But it's Aston Villa with a corner. They've gone short. Luiz gets it back. Crosses to the far post towards Conser. Headed on by Richards. Looks like Bailey. Edge of the area. Takes the touch. Fakes the first shot. Eventually has the shot, but it's blocked. And out to the right side to Cash, who brings it forward for Villa into the Olympiacos box, which cleared by Carmo. Straight to Bailey, who keeps it away from Chiquinho. Now Bailey tackled there by an Olympiacos man. It's now Podence on the left-hand side. Goes back here to Amar Richards, who was brought off the bench at half-time for the injured Francisco Ortega. And it's a good switch out to the right here to Rodginate, beyond the halfway line. Goes inside to keep away from Rogers. And now brings in Fortunis. Back towards Rodginate. Slide tackle from Digne to keep it. And then he gets another tackle in there and he wins the ball. And then a third tackle means the last touch comes off Rodginate. And it's a Aston Villa throw-in. Just over half an hour to play. 5 goals already in this one. It's been a brilliant game. Ball in behind, down the left for Watkins. Loses out to Retsos. He clears it for Olympiacos long up to the halfway line. Chested forward by Luis to Digne. And then returns it to Luis just in front of the halfway line. It's now Cash. Goes back to Conser. Conser going back to Olsen in the 18-yard box. A bit negative that from Villa to go backwards in that situation. It's now Cash just taking his time on the ball, just relaxing the play. The last time Aston Villa were in a knockout game in Europe before this season was in the 08-09 season as Watkins has been played through. The goalkeeper comes out and he kicks it off Watkins and it flies over the crossbar. Good goalkeeping really to be off his line, Zalakis, as it was put in behind there by Bailey. Watkins onside, being played onside by Rodginate it looked like. And the goalkeeper came sliding out, kicked it off Watkins and like I say, absolutely ballooned over the crossbar. Yeah, like I said, Aston Villa hadn't played in a European knockout game since 2009, where they were knocked out of the round of 32. But this is a bit different now in the last 4. It's going to be a goal kick for the away side. Zalakis will just drill it out towards the left-hand side here to Pedence, who on the halfway line has got Bailey in front of him, but Pedence will keep it. Going back here to the left back of Richards. It's now the left centre half of Carmo, who goes into his goalkeeper of Zalakis. First time clearance. It's not a great one. Floats in the air in the Olympiacos half. Chested forward by Digne to Rogers, who loses out to Rodginate. It's now Fortunis. Lays it back here to Heze. It's now Ibora to Carmo. It's now the left back position here with Richards. Forward to Pedence. 1-on-1 with Cash. Pedence still has it. Tripped by Cash. Throw-in. Free kick for the Greek side. Cash doesn't agree, but looked like a foul to me. Clear trip there. Got none of the ball. I don't know why Cash is complaining. Like I said, Daniel Pedence did score the last time he was here for Wolves. Scored here last season in a 1-1 draw. Scored 6 times last season in the Premier League, but clearly wasn't a part of Wolves' plans for this new season. Not sure if he was part of Gary O'Neill's plans, because of course the Wolves manager came in quite late, didn't he, in the season? Well, the season already started when he'd come in. Gary O'Neill. We're just getting a stoppage here. Pedence stays down. As the foul was made by Cash, he looks like he's claimed to said that he's been caught in the face. So I think Unai Emery's just making sure the referee adds this time on, because I think Unai Emery's seen this as a little bit of a time-wasting project here from Olympiacos. At the moment, it's 3-2. Aston Villa equalised in the second half through Moussa Diaby, but almost just a couple of minutes later, they were back behind. A penalty given away, handball by Douglas Luiz. A header by Retsos into Luiz. He just had his arm out. No idea why. The referee was right in front of it. And with his left foot, third goal of the night, all with his left foot. El Khabi slotted it into the bottom left corner. Back underway here, as they were just showing some replays. He's been caught offside, so free kick here for Villa. Take it quickly with Robin Olsen. Now forward to McGinn, who's playing a central midfield position tonight. Usually plays out wide when Youri Tielemans is available, but he's out of this game. Youri Tielemans, as it's Aston Villa to keep it here. Retsos just intercepting a pass on halfway, but his touch was heavy. Gives it straight back to Aston Villa. Cash forward to McGinn, still in the Villa half at the moment. McGinn keeps it to Luiz, his midfield partner. McGinn, great ball forward to the centre circle to Rogers, who takes it on the turn. Rogers lays it off for Bailey, once more for Diaby, in the box, pulls it back, edge of the area. Bailey, on his left foot, thought about the shot, but goes against it. And Louise goes back out wide here to Diaby. Into the run of Rodgers. Puts it towards goal and rattles the side netting at the near post. And it's a goal kick for Olympiacos. Not a bad attempt there by Morgan Rodgers, who obviously saw Diaby score at the near post from a very tight angle before. Fancied it himself, but couldn't work it on target in the end. Morgan Rodgers, he's got 3 Aston Villa goals, all in the Premier League and all in his last 4 in the Premier League. He's starting to turn up with some goals. Morgan Rodgers since his January move from Middlesbrough. Longley heads it across to Conser from the long ball from Olympiacos with their goal kick. And it's now back with Aston Villa. McGinn turning away from one and playing it past another of Olympiacos shirt. And it's now to Diaby on the right wing, running at Richards, playing it into the space for Watkins in the box, who's just goes back to goal at the moment. Lays it off for Bailey. Back through towards Watkins, but cut out there. And cleared for Olympiacos. In behind Longley, who lets it bounce through, but he'll beat El Kaabi to it. And Longley's now got time on the ball. And he finds Robin Olsen, the goalkeeper, the 34-year-old. Who goes forward to Douglas Luiz. Loads of time to bring the ball forward now in his own half. Goes to the right to McGinn. Going to go for a curling ball out to Bailey. It's a touch that's just in front of him, and Richards will beat him to it. Richards will try and see it out, but instead he's been brought down by Bailey, and that'll be a free kick in a left-back position for Olympiacos. So free kick to be taken by the goalkeeper. There's Club Bruges with 10 men equalise against Fiorentina. So in the other Conference League semi-final, it's Fiorentina 2, Club Bruges 2. Goals galore in the Conference League tonight. Unai Emery just wanting a little bit of calm. Looks like he's got a new haircut, Unai Emery. I'm not sure why that's relevant, but maybe a smart and up trim for the semi-final. It's an Olympiacos throw-in. No, it's been kept in by Bailey on that far side. McGinn goes forward, but can't find the outstretched leg of Rodgers. It's now with Rodginate, the right back for Olympiacos, who adventures into the Villa half here. He's got Fortunis to his right. And he'll find the captain in the final third. It's now with Ibora. Watkins closing him down. He plays it back here to Heze. Out to the left to Richards. Forward for Pedence. He's going to run at Matty Cash here. Pedence with the ball. Outside the box at the moment. Lays it off for Heze. He will shoot from afar. It deflects and it goes in. Olympiacos regain their 2-goal advantage here at Villa Park. Totally against the run of play. A deflected shot has got the better of Robin Olsen. Santiago Heze will take the credit as it was his shot towards goal. But it took an almighty deflection, we believe, off Ezri Konsa. And Aston Villa have got it all to do again. The 2 goals they've conceded in this second half have been so poor. The first was an unnecessary penalty with the handball from Douglas Luiz. And they've got to get out to him quicker. They can't allow him to have that shot. And from around 22 yards out, Heze had the shot towards the left-hand side of the goal. It deflects off the back of Konsa. Olsen had to try and go back on himself. He got a hand to it, but couldn't quite lift it over the crossbar into the back of the net it goes. And I'm not sure how, but it's Aston Villa 2, Olympiacos 4 with a quarter of the first leg to go. I mean, like I say, there's a bit of fortune for that for Santiago Heze, who scores his first ever Olympiacos goal after joining in the summer. Buenos Aires-born midfielder. And Villa, again, they've got it all to do. They've got to at least go into that second leg level. They don't want to be going into that second leg behind, but they've got a lot of work to do, and they don't want to concede anymore. Pedence tries to go through to El Kaabi, cut out by Cash, poked forward to McGinn. Out to the right it goes now to Moussa Diaby. Bailey's in front of him. He goes inside to Rodgers instead. He touches it back to Diaby on the edge of the box. Rodgers again with it. Then Diaby again. How many 1-2s can these two complete? Diaby has it. Back for Rodgers. Tries to go through first time to Bailey. Deflects to McGinn. To the left to Douglas Luiz. 25 yards out. Back to his right to McGinn. It's now Cash. Forward to Diaby. Everyone behind the ball for Olympiacos, bar their striker. Cash has it on the far side. Not being closed down at the moment. Goes to McGinn. Lays it off for Cash again. Who tries to go forward with the ball, even though he's been closed down by Chiquinho. Then back into the Villa half here to Consa. Good pressing by Olympiacos. It's now Robin Olsen. To Edric Consa, the right centre-back. Finds Louise in the middle of the park. Still midway inside his own half, though. Finds McGinn. First time ball towards Rodgers. Cut out by Pedence. Options left and right. He goes to the left towards El Khaby, but it's overhit. And out for a throw-in next to that corner flag for Aston Villa. Cannot be giving the ball away in their own half, that's for sure. Can't be conceding any more goals at the moment. Olympiacos says they're going to make a change here. Number 56, Daniel Pedence, will be coming off here for number 5, Andre Horta, who was brought in on loan in January from Braga. Has scored against Wolves before in his career in terms of scoring against English opposition in the Europa League in the 2019-2020 season. So Andre Horta is to come on. Started 11 of his 15 previous appearances for Olympiacos since joining in the January window. It's now a throw-in the right-back position for Villa with Cash. Long throw-in right up towards the halfway line where the head's been won by Carmo for the away side. It's now back into their own half here with the centre-half of Retsos. He goes to the goalkeeper of Zolakos in his own box. Time on the ball. Eventually goes long. Out to the left-hand side. Poked away by Consa. Deflects to Longley. He's been forced to go back here to Robin Olsen. He finds Consa in the 18-yard box at right centre-back. He's allowed to bring the ball forward and plays it out to the right here to Cash. Inside to Diaby in the Olympiacos half. On once more for Rodgers. And then on once more to Watkins. On the angle. It's a bit too tight. Has to turn back. He's got Digne in support. Watkins wanted to go on his own. Digne overlaps and Watkins shoots. And it just goes right through to the goalkeeper. Straight down his throat. A slight little nick. Could have took that beyond the goalkeeper. But he was able to read it and match it with a save. And it's still Villa 2, Olympiacos 4. McGinn deflects a pass forward for Watkins, edge of the area, plays it through into the box for Diaby. Great slide tackle by David Carmo. It's now Vamar Richards who plays out to the left here to Andre Horta. Inside to Heze. Back to Horta. Finds Chiquinho in the central area for Olympiacos. Goes out to the right to Fortunis. He's got the right back of Rodinei with him and he finds the Brazilian. And Fortunis makes a run forward. Rodinei doesn't use him for now. He instead plays it to Andre Horta. Can bring it forward for Olympiacos into the final third on the right-hand side. Finds Fortunis, who delivers a crossing off the back of Digne. Clearance by McGinn, headed away by Digne. Controlled by Rodgers, who turns away from Fortunis. Rodgers can start the counter-attack, switches it out to the right to Bailey. Outside of the boot ball, down the line for Diaby. That's a brilliant ball. Carmo's going to get there, though. And now the play goes for an Aston Villa throw-in, midway inside the Olympiacos half. They take it quickly. Diaby throwing it back to Bailey. It's now just in front of the halfway line here with Cash. As the momentum's just slightly slowed down in that attack for Villa. It's in front of the centre circle. It's Louise. Goes out to this near side here with Digne. Forward from left back. Finds Watkins on the edge of the area. On his right foot. Finding Rodgers. Returning it to Watkins in the corner of the box on the left-hand side. Back through for Rodgers. Squares it! And it's caught by the goalkeeper of Zalakis. I mean, you feel like a goal could be coming for Villa shortly. And it's got to come shortly because I don't think a loss in this game will help them in their adventure towards the final. Going behind into a game against Olympiacos could be a difficult one to turn around. It's Aston Villa with a throw-in on this far side. Cash wants to take it quickly. It's a big throw-in by Cash. And they're going to have to retake it as we're going to make a change here. Morgan Rodgers to come off for Aston Villa. Still not scored in this competition. And he'll be replaced by John Duran, who scored twice in this Conference League. Scored one against Ajax in the second leg 4-0 win in the last 16. Cash goes long with the throw to the edge of the box to Duran, who volleys it towards goal, and into the hands of the goalkeeper it goes. Not a bad introduction by the Colombian, John Duran. Straight on it, the 20-year-old. Having a shot at goal. Brought in for $22 million, John Duran from Chicago in the MLS in January 2023. Digne heads away a long ball from Olympiacos, and it's a throw for the away side in the Villa half. Just over 15 minutes of the 90 to play here, and it's still Villa 2, Olympiacos 4. They were 2-0 down, Aston Villa, and then they got it back to 2-2 at the start of the second half. But then they've gone and conceded 2 more goals via a penalty and a deflected shot. Throw flicked on to Fortunis. But he loses out in the end to Longley. He's now on the edge of the box with Conser, wanting to go forward but can't go forward. Every pass blocked off, so he goes back to the goalkeeper of Olsen. But they had to go through qualifying Aston Villa as they finished 7th in the league last season, knocking out Hibernian 8-0 on aggregate before their group stage run, with the likes of Legia Warsaw and AZ Alkmaar and Zrinski as well. As it's Diaby on the left-hand side now. Retsos just shoves him off the ball, and it's now Retsos to go to Rodney, the right back, and Olympiacos can clear it long down the right-hand side, but it goes out of play for a throw-in for Longley to take. Throws it across the pitch to Conser, as Aston Villa need to try and hurry here. They need goals quickly as possible. Louise from the halfway line plays a ball over the top. Is Watkins stayed onside? I don't think he has. He'll keep it in. No, he doesn't keep it in. It's a goal kick or a free kick. It's one or the other. I think the linesman is given offside. Watkins not quite timing his run there. As Chelsea won the game 2-0 against Tottenham. Leverkusen 2-0 up away at Roma. Marseille Atalanta still 1-1, and it's Fiorentina 2, Club Brugge 2 still in the other Conference League semi-final. The goal kick for Olympiacos. He's headed away by Louise, but headed forward for Olympiacos by Heze, but only as far as Longley. Digne tripped. Is he by Fortunis? Yes, he is. Free kick given to Villa on the near side. Taken quickly. It's now with the right centre half of Ezri Konsa. Forward and out to the right here to Bailey. Just loses out to Richards. His touch just got away from him. Richards on the floor for some reason, and now he's got the ball in between his legs. And it'll be, I think it'll be an Aston Villa free kick here. Because Richards just fell over the ball trying to buy a foul. And then just put the ball in between his legs so it couldn't be taken off him. And that's a free kick for Aston Villa. Bit of obstruction there, so it'll be a free chance to deliver in the box here. Bit of a cheap one to give away with it for Olympiacos, for Omar Richards. As it's Louise to cross, right-footed, header won by Watkins, but well wide it goes. Bit of a 50p header in the end there by Ollie Watkins. So goal kick for the Greek side, as they'll be absolutely delighted with this. Olympiacos that they've come to Villa Park and there's 2 goals ahead after losing a 2-goal lead. I think that's what they'll be most surprised at, the fact that they had the 2-goal lead, they lost it, and then somehow got it back in this second half. And the goal kick goes long. Zalakis straight to Cash. He brings it down. Touch isn't great, but it can be found to Bailey. Hooked away though on halfway by Heze. Headed back by McGinn there to Cash. Well kept by John McGinn. Clever header. And it's now with Robin Olsen being closed down though, so he needs to try and shift this as quickly as possible. He finds a low ball out to the left. It's Diaby to help it on to Digne. It's brilliant football from Villa. Now Diaby set away. Tackled though. What a slide tackle that is by Retsos, and it reaches Rodney. And it's now Fortunis away on the right hand side. This is a chance. Cross goes in. Concert clears it. Deceiving angle from the camera there. Thought that was going in for an own goal. Fortunis still has it from the Conter clearance on the edge of the box. Plays it out to the right to Rodney. 1-on-1 with Digne. Takes on Digne as well. Towards the byline, crosses in, and the header away by Longley. And that goes for a corner. You feel like Olympiacos can still score more. And you feel like at the moment, Villa won't score at the minute. They just seem a little bit deflated. It's like the energy and the atmosphere has just been zapped out a little bit. I think mainly by the way the goals have been scored. You know, the penalty given away and then the deflected shot going in as well. So it's another corner for the team from Athens. It'll be an outswinger from their captain Fortounis. In it goes. Header won well there by Louise, and then a shot from the edge of the box, saved by Olsen. Still alive for Carmo. Goes backwards here to Roginate. That was some strike, that I think, from Chiquinho. 1-2. Can't be completed for Olympiacos. Digne clears it, but it's straight to Carmo. So still in possession of Olympiacos on halfway. Going back to the goalkeeper of Zalakis. Duran will chase it down, but Zalakis will clear it forward straight to Robin Olsen in the 18-yard box for Villa. Good save that by the Swedish goalkeeper, because Chiquinho met that and hit it very nicely. Scored in the quarter-final first leg against Fenerbahce. Chiquinho almost scored here in the first leg in the semi-final as Cash. Low ball down the line. Bailey will chase it. Richards will get there first, going to ground again, but can only kick it out of play for a throw-in. In the final third for Villa, 10 minutes of the 90 to play. It'll be Cash to take the throw-in. He does have a rather long throw, in fairness, Matty Cash. He could definitely reach the 18-yard box, as it looks like Aston Villa are going to introduce Nicolo Zaniolo shortly. So Cash will throw this into the box. That's got height on it as well. That's a brilliant throw. Carmo comes off his hands for sure, but Duran tripped as well in the box, and it's a penalty. There were 2 claims for a penalty, and one of them's been given. I think the referee's given the handball. I'm not too sure, but David Carmo was guilty for both attempted fouls there. One with the control with the hand, and then the one on the trip from Duran. Long throw-in went in, and Watkins moved out the way, which then came off the hands of Carmo. And then as it came off Carmo, it deflected through to Duran. And then as Duran was going towards the ball, Carmo just tripped him up. He's give it for the trip. He's not give it for the handball shouts. Duran was through. Carmo just left his leg out. Duran went over. And it's a penalty this time for Aston Villa. They weren't giving one in the first half, which for me was a stonewaller. Bailey was brought down by Ortega. But that one's a penalty. A trip by Carmo on Duran. And to get this game back to just 1 goal in it, it'll be Douglas Luiz's responsibility from 12 yards out. He's not scored in this competition, Douglas Luiz. He has got 9 in the Premier League. Not scored, though, since the 24th of February against Nottingham Forest. And a lot of pressure and a lot of weight rests on his shoulders. Referee brandishing out yellow cards now for Olympiacos players who seem to try and just slow the taking of this penalty to allow more pressure to build on Douglas Luiz. Just a lot of shoving there on the edge of the box, as of course every player has to remain outside the box. And this is just not helping Douglas Luiz at all. He does seem focused, in fairness. And what a time to score it would be on his 200th appearance for the club. Deep breath out from Aston Villa's number 6. They need him now more than ever to score from the penalty spot. He's already scored 5 penalties this season. Can he score another? Douglas Luiz. Oh, puts it wide! Off the post. It looked like it was going to go in, but the delay of the taking of the penalty is obviously taking its toll on the taker. And he's put it wide. He opened up the body, aimed it towards the towards the right-hand side of the goal, and off the outside of the post and wide it went. He is not happy with himself, Douglas Luiz, and it remains Aston Villa 2, Olympiacos 4. I thought he'd done enough to get it in. I thought that came off the inside of the post, but instead it nicked off the outside and wide it went. What a moment that is for Aston Villa as they make another substitute here. I think they're going to make two, just freshening up the attack. Leon Bailey and Moussa Diaby have come off. One of the players to come on is Tim Irabunam, and the other one is Nicolo Zaniolo. But that has got to go in from Douglas Luiz to not even get it on target. I think as soon as he hit it, he knew, but the delay of the taking of the penalty didn't help him, and his teammates didn't help. Getting involved in that shoving on the edge of the box, trying to shove the other player into the box and everything, it's just so unnecessary. Just let them shove you, or just get yourself out of the way. You can't be letting your own player stand for well over a minute thinking about the penalties he's about to take as Cash gives it away in the midfield looking for Duran. It's now on the left-hand side here with Richards for Olympiacos. Down the line for Horta. Loses out to McGinn. It's now Irabunam. Tries to go out to the left. Cut out though, but kick towards the Olympiacos. Goal there for Watkins, but he can't quite beat Carmo to it, who heads it back to his goalkeeper. And it's the Greek side who stay two ahead. Digne at left back clears it off for Tunis. And it'll be a throw-in for Aston Villa, who could do at least with another goal going into that second leg. They can't be going 2 down. That would be a little bit disastrous for them. It's Douglas Luiz on the halfway line. Playing it to his right here to Irabunam. Irabunam coming on will allow McGinn to go more central, and McGinn gives it away, passes it behind Luiz to El Kaabi. And Olympiacos will try and attack down the left-hand side. Horta chasing it, but won't get there. Throwing in the right-back position for Aston Villa. And Irabunam takes it quickly to Ezri Konsa. And they've got to get going here, Aston Villa. They've got to forget that penalty miss and try and go again. It's a long leg, midway inside the Villa half, goes across to Konsa. Not sure how long will be added on here, in fairness. We've had a few stoppages with VAR and penalties being given and being missed. Douglas Luiz through the middle for McGinn, who gets there. McGinn, edge of the box, shoots towards goal, but it's straight at the goalkeeper. Well held as well there, in fairness, by Zalakis, who, if he'd let go, was giving it to an on-running Aston Villa player who's following that one in, the likes of Duran and Watkins. It's kicked into the air out to the Olympiacos right, headed on by El Kaabi, who's been a bit isolated in this second half, at the back end of it anyway, but they've had to just prioritise defending in the end, really. Olympiacos. Irabunam finds Luiz in the centre circle. Finds Longley to his left on the halfway line. Turns back and lays it off into Luiz. Forward for Duran. Back in goes to Longley. Across to Irabunam. Finds Cash. McGinn making a run down the line. He'll find McGinn, who's onside. McGinn has it in the right wing position. Goes back to Irabunam. McGinn's back onside. McGinn has it. McGinn crosses. It deflects off Richards to Cash, who then overhits the touch. Now the play goes for a goal kick. Just not happening tonight for Aston Villa. It just seems like everything that could go wrong is going wrong, which is never a good sign in a European knockout night. I mean, I know they can't be knocked out tonight, but it's a knockout tie altogether. The goal kick goes out to the Olympiacos left, headed into the sky there by El Kaabi. Headed on though by Digne, flicked on by Watkins. Duran will chase it, but cleared away by Retsos. Now to the right flank to Fortunis. Inside he goes to Chiquinho. But then he's passed back to the halfway line, goes straight to Watkins, and Aston Villa can try and get forward. Watkins lays it off to Zaniolo through the legs of Iborra. Watkins now has it in the edge of the box. He's been shoved to the ground. Nothing given by the referee. He wanted the free kick there. Watkins thought he was shoved in the back, but nothing given. It's now the right back of Rodgers, who just gets rid for Olympiacos. It's Longley on the halfway line for Villa on this near side. Forward to Louise, then inside to Concert. Let's see how long we'll be added on. We've got a minute left of the 90. Concert in the centre circle. Loads of time on the ball. There's Louise. Thought about going in behind for Cash, but instead goes forward to Zaniolo in between the lines. It's brilliant. Then out to the left to Digne. Needs to get the cross right. He's got time to deliver it in, and in it goes, and it's a header up in the air to the edge of the box where Duran tries the acrobatic attempt. Kicks it out wide towards Cash, who will keep it in, and the flag stays down. Cash running towards the box, crossing left-footed. Header away by Rodgers at the far post for Olympiacos. Digne trying to keep it alive, but it's Fortunis to hook it away. Well, as far as Louise, it goes back to Longley. And then across to Concert. As Villa need to keep this momentum going. Longley into the middle of the pitch here for Louise. Space out to the right. Finds Cash, who will deliver into the box. It's just about headed away by Carmo. Only as far as Irabunum. Lays it off for Louise, who's being tackled here by Chiquinho. Louise still has it. Moving one way then the other. 5 added on here at Villa Park. Louise crosses. Goalkeeper comes for it. Punches out to the edge of the box. And then the header forward by Irabunum. It's gone straight to the goalkeeper. There's a Olympiacos man down of Panayotis Retsos, the 25-year-old, who made one appearance for Sheffield United in a loan move from January to June in 2020. Didn't go quite well for him. But here he is in a Conference League semi-final for Olympiacos at the back, and he's defended very well. Panayotis Retsos. So as he's back to his feet, rubbing the back of his head, it's going to be a drop ball for the goalkeeper of Olympiacos, of Zalakis. And those Olympiacos fans are absolutely bouncing. It's a 7-hour round trip for them altogether, here and back to Greece. It's definitely been worthwhile. That goes without saying. As John Duran on the far side loses out there to Richards. Horta slips though as the ball's played towards him. It's now on the halfway line with Irabunum. Wants to go forward here and he drives forward with it, taking on 2 Olympiacos players and then finding Zaniolo. Then out to the left here to Digne in the box, loads of space. First time cross goes in. Straight to the goalkeeper. Well held again, but the cross wasn't great. Feel like he's got to go lower than that. Just lifted it a little bit, which made the catch easier for the goalkeeper to make. Long kick goes forward, but controlled well by Digne. Absolutely kills it. Now 1-2 is Zaniolo, but he's tackled by Rodgers, and Olympiacos can smell blood here. They might go for a 5th. 3 minutes have added on time to play. Rodgers, the right back, still going forward with it. Playing it out to the right to Fortunis in the final third. Onto his left foot. Shooting towards goal, and over the bar it goes. His teammates aren't happy with his decision there to go on and take the shot. And Villa try and get forward as quickly as possible. Douglas Luiz on the edge of the area. Playing out to the right here to Cash. As it looks like Fiorentina's nicked a winner in the other semi-final. 3-2 against 10-man Club Brugge. Douglas Luiz lifts it out to the left-hand side here to Digne. Just has to go back to Longley. Not really many options ahead of him. It's now Tim Irabunum towards the right-hand side. Finds Duran. And then back into Concert. Forward to Duran, who's dropping in to try and make something happen here for Aston Villa. Just seems a little bit deflated on the pitch, Aston Villa. It's been a long night. A lot of stuff have gone against them. It's Douglas Luiz. 25 yards out. Lifting it into the box towards Watkins. Cut out by Retsos. Cleared by Olympiacos, but it'll be Concert to get there. Concert in his own half finds Irabunum. It's now with Cash on the halfway line, going long in behind. Watkins is onside. He controls it. Forced away from goal though by Retsos, but Watkins can keep it here. Watkins playing it back to Irabun and well kept there by Villa's number 11. It's now Louise to Longley. Just over a minute of added on time left. Can Villa get one more? Digne crosses towards Watkins, who will reach it on the edge of the box. Turns on his left foot. Watkins, can he get there? No, he just runs out of touch. And a very frustrated Watkins boots the ball, I think, off the back of a steward. And it looks like that could be that for Villa tonight. It's just been so frustrating for them. Almost made it happen, Watkins. He almost got the space to maybe get a cut back, but that final touch just got away from him, unfortunately. And it looks like Villa are going to go into the second leg in Athens, 2 down. Zalakis will take the goal kick. Forward it goes. It's a big kick, that. Almost in behind Longley, who just about heads it to his right to Conser. They just need to go long here. They go out to the right to Cash. We've almost played the 5 minutes. I don't see this referee playing any extra. Cash bringing it down the right-hand side. Tackled, though, by Horta. We've played the 5 minutes here. Waiting for the referee's whistle here at Villa Park. We will be covering the second leg next week on this channel. As Cash throws it long in towards the edge of the box to Duran, whose touch isn't great. Taken off him there by Abora, who goes forward here for El Karbi. Can't quite get onto the pass. Goes through for Conser, who beats him to it. It's now with Irabunum. And that's where the referee blows for full time. And after the first leg, it's Olympiacos who have the lead. It finishes here, Aston Villa 2, Olympiacos 4. And what a frantic game of football we've had tonight. Olympiacos had a 2-goal lead in half an hour. 2 from El Karbi. 2 questions of offside. Both of them cleared for onside. El Karbi timing his run perfectly on both occasions, but right before the break, Watkins got Villa back in it at 2-1, a low-driven shot into the bottom left corner. And then right after the break, 7 minutes into the second half, Aston Villa equalised to make it 2-2. Moussa Diaby on the tightest of angles, squeezing it through the gap between the goalkeeper and near post. And you thought that was Aston Villa's catalyst to go on and maybe win the game, but instead it's gone the opposite way. A couple of minutes later, El Karbi scored from the penalty spot to make it 3-2, a handball given against Douglas Luiz, who had his arm out in an unnatural position. And 10 minutes later, with a quarter of the game to go, Olympiacos had a 4th goal. Santiago Heze with the strike, which was deflected off the back of Conser, deceived Olsen, and it gave Olympiacos somehow, from somewhere, another 2-goal advantage. They didn't let that one slip. They defended well. Aston Villa had a penalty missed through Douglas Luiz with 6 minutes of the game to play, which would have made it 4-3 on the night. That penalty kick was given against David Carmo after a trip on John Duran, the substitute. Just a lot of things went wrong for Villa. They also had a goal disallowed at 0-0 for a foul in the build-up from Longley on Ibora. Alongside that missed penalty, alongside the penalty given against them with the deflected shot, it just wasn't Aston Villa's night in their first semi-final in Europe in 42 years. And for Olympiacos, it's gone more than all right for them. In their first ever European semi-final, they've come to England, to Villa Park, they've won 4-2. It's a first hat-trick for Ayoub El Karbi in an Olympiacos shirt. He's now on 30 goals for the season, the Moroccan, in 45 appearances. What a free signing he's been from Qatar. And into the second leg in Athens next week, it'll be Olympiacos with the advantage by 2 goals. And it's a nightmare night for Unai Emery and Aston Villa. Beaten on the night again here at Villa Park, which was once a fortress. It's now becoming a place where people fancy their chances. And that's now their 5th defeat here this year alone in 2024. It's now just 10 wins in 23 for them in 2024. And a chance to reach a European final for the first time since 1982 when they won the European Cup. Looks to be a very difficult task for them to now go on and complete. To have the home leg first, you can't be going behind. And that's what's happened here tonight. Villa are behind, and not just by 1, but they're behind by 2. Just everything going wrong. I don't think Villa fans are very happy with the referee at times, who was very intent on making sure he was in control of the game. And there is El Khabi taking a picture with a Moroccan fan. His home country. And Olympiacos will celebrate with their away support. Like I say, 7-hour round trip on the plane for them, here and back. And it has been more than justified for them to make that long journey here. And they've got the advantage going into the second leg. But that is the end of the live commentary. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. We've got one more commentary coming this week. That's on Sunday, 3 o'clock, where Bromley take on Solihull Moors in the National League playoff final. But here at Villa Park, Aston Villa needed to win this game to take an advantage into Athens. Instead, they've gone and lost it by 2 goals. It was a 2-0 lead for Olympiacos in half an hour. That was cut in half to 2-1 just before the break. Aston Villa equalised after half-time through Moussa Diaby, but 2 very sloppy goals to give away has meant they trail going into the second leg. As here at Villa Park, it finishes Aston Villa 2, Olympiacos 4.